Welcome to Mindful Audio, where we believe that mastering your emotions is key to living a life of greater fulfillment, success, and authenticity. In our world, emotions are powerful forces that shape how we see ourselves, interact with others, and respond to challenges. At Mindful Audio, we provide motivational and intellectual insights designed to help you take control of your emotional well-being. Much like in Thibaut Meurisse's Master Your Emotions, our content focuses on understanding the origins of your emotions, recognizing the impact they have on your life, and empowering you to manage them more effectively. We explore practical tools and strategies to help you overcome negativity, replace limiting beliefs, and cultivate positive emotional states that align with your goals and values. Emotions are not meant to control us, they are meant to guide us. Through self-awareness, mindfulness, and emotional intelligence, we invite you to join us on a journey to build resilience, unlock your potential, and embrace the full spectrum of human experience with clarity and confidence. Whether it's overcoming fear, managing anger, or cultivating gratitude, Mindful Audio is here to help you take charge of your emotional life and create lasting, positive change. Understanding emotions. Introduction to emotions. In Master Your Emotions, Thibaut Meurisse begins by explaining that emotions are an inherent part of the human experience. They play a crucial role in shaping our decisions, behaviors, and perceptions of the world around us. Meurisse emphasizes that emotions are not good or bad in and of themselves, they are natural responses to events and situations. Our emotional responses arise from our interpretations of these events, influenced by our beliefs, thoughts, and past experiences. Thus, understanding emotions is the first step toward mastering them. The role of emotions. Meurisse explores the evolutionary purpose of emotions, explaining that they have developed over time as survival mechanisms. Fear, for example, alerts us to danger, while happiness signals that something is going well. However, he points out that while emotions have served us in the past, they can sometimes be misaligned with modern circumstances. The emotional responses we have today may not always be relevant to the situation we are in, particularly when they are driven by past trauma or inaccurate beliefs. The key to mastering emotions is not about eliminating them but understanding them. Meurisse explains that emotions are a signal or message from our subconscious mind, telling us how we feel about a situation or event. Instead of ignoring or suppressing emotions, we need to tune in and understand their origin and impact. The influence of thoughts and beliefs. One of the central themes of Master Your Emotions is that emotions are not just random, they are directly influenced by our thoughts and beliefs. The book delves into the cognitive model, which suggests that it's not the events themselves that cause our emotions, but how we perceive and interpret those events. This concept is rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which asserts that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are interconnected. Meurisse discusses how we interpret events through our beliefs, which can either amplify or minimize our emotional responses. For instance, if we hold a belief that we must always be perfect, a minor mistake might evoke intense feelings of shame or frustration. Similarly, beliefs about our self-worth, relationships, and abilities influence how we experience different situations. By identifying and challenging distorted or limiting beliefs, we can change our emotional responses. The connection between emotions and physical sensations. Emotions are not just mental phenomena, they also manifest physically in the body. Meurisse highlights the physical sensations that accompany emotions, such as the tension in our shoulders when stressed or the fluttering feeling in our stomach when anxious. This mind-body connection is vital for emotional awareness, as it helps us recognize emotions before they escalate. Meurisse explains how becoming more aware of these physical sensations can be a powerful tool for emotional mastery. By learning to notice the early signs of emotional arousal, such as a tight chest or clenched jaw, we can intervene before the emotion becomes overwhelming. This awareness allows us to pause, reflect, and decide how to respond rather than reacting impulsively. The emotional feedback loop. Emotions are part of a feedback loop that affects our behavior and vice versa. Meurisse introduces the idea that emotions can create a cycle, where negative emotions lead to negative behaviors, which in turn reinforce negative emotions. For example, feeling anxious about an upcoming event may cause us to avoid preparation, which leads to poor performance and more anxiety. This feedback loop can create a self-sustaining cycle of emotional distress. On the other hand, positive emotions can also create a feedback loop. For instance, practicing gratitude can lead to feelings of contentment, which increases motivation to continue positive actions. By consciously creating positive emotional feedback loops, we can enhance our emotional well-being and build resilience. The importance of emotional awareness. Emotional awareness is a central concept in Master Your Emotions. Meurisse emphasizes that many people go through life unaware of their emotional patterns. They might experience stress, frustration, or sadness without fully understanding why. Developing emotional awareness involves paying attention to your feelings in the moment and asking why you are experiencing them. Meurisse suggests keeping an emotional journal as a tool for increasing emotional awareness. By writing down your feelings, triggers, and reflections, you can identify patterns over time and gain insight into how specific situations affect your emotional state. This practice not only helps you understand your emotions better but also provides an opportunity for emotional growth and healing. The impact of past experiences and conditioning. Our past experiences, particularly those from childhood, play a significant role in shaping how we experience emotions today. Meurisse explains that many of our emotional responses are conditioned by past events, especially those involving significant emotional trauma. For instance, someone who has experienced neglect or criticism in childhood may have heightened sensitivity to rejection in adulthood. These emotional patterns are often unconscious, making it challenging to break free from them. By becoming aware of the ways in which past experiences influence our current emotional responses, we can begin to break free from these conditioned patterns. Meurisse encourages readers to engage in self-reflection and, when necessary, seek professional help to process past trauma and emotional conditioning. The power of emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is a critical skill in emotional mastery. Meurisse discusses various techniques for managing emotions once we have gained awareness of them. These include breathing exercises, mindfulness, cognitive reframing, and grounding techniques. Each of these strategies can help us regulate our emotions in real time, preventing them from overwhelming us or leading to negative behaviors. For example, deep breathing helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which counteracts the stress response and induces a sense of calm. Similarly, mindfulness techniques, such as focusing on the present moment, can help us detach from overwhelming emotions and reduce their intensity. By practicing these techniques regularly, we can increase our emotional resilience and improve our ability to manage stress. The importance of self-compassion. Finally, Meurisse emphasizes the importance of self-compassion in emotional mastery. Emotions like guilt, shame, and regret often arise from self-criticism or judgment. To master our emotions, we must learn to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, even when we experience difficult feelings. Meurisse argues that emotional mastery is not about perfection but about accepting our emotions without judgment and learning from them. By practicing self-compassion, we create a foundation of emotional safety that allows us to explore and understand our emotions without fear of judgment. This shift in mindset helps us navigate difficult emotions with more grace and less self-blame. The importance of emotional awareness. Introduction to emotional awareness. Thibaut Meurisse begins this section by emphasizing that emotional awareness is a foundational skill for emotional mastery. Emotions are not just fleeting or random experiences but are deeply connected to our thoughts, beliefs, and past experiences. Without the ability to recognize, understand, and address our emotions, we remain reactive rather than proactive in managing our emotional state. Emotional awareness gives us the power to observe our feelings, analyze their causes, and make conscious decisions about how to respond to them. Emotional awareness isn't just about noticing when we're happy or sad, it's about fully understanding the subtleties of our emotional state and how it affects our behavior. Meurisse argues that too many people go through life unaware of their emotional patterns, which leads to unhelpful or even harmful responses. By developing emotional awareness, we can begin to break free from reactive emotional cycles and take charge of our emotional lives. The role of self-awareness in emotional mastery. Meurisse explains that self-awareness is a prerequisite for emotional mastery. If we are not aware of what we're feeling, it's difficult to manage those emotions effectively. He draws on the concept of mindfulness, being fully present in the moment and aware of our internal experiences, as a key tool for increasing emotional awareness. The more aware we are of our emotions as they arise, the better equipped we are to manage them. For example, when we feel anxious before a big presentation, simply acknowledging that anxiety can help us recognize that we're experiencing a natural emotional response to the situation. If we don't acknowledge the anxiety, it can escalate and lead to physical symptoms like sweating or a racing heart, which may further compound the feeling of unease. The awareness of our anxiety, on the other hand, allows us to take conscious action, such as using deep breathing or positive affirmations to manage it, before it becomes overwhelming. Recognizing emotional triggers. One of the most significant aspects of emotional awareness is recognizing emotional triggers, the external events, situations, or internal thoughts that prompt emotional reactions. Meurisse emphasizes that emotional reactions are often automatic and unconscious, making it difficult to manage them effectively unless we can identify the source of the emotion. By becoming aware of what triggers our emotions, we gain insight into the underlying causes of our feelings. For instance, a person who feels anger when criticized may not realize that this anger is rooted in deeper feelings of insecurity or past experiences of judgment. Similarly, someone who feels sadness in social situations might not recognize that this emotion is tied to past experiences of rejection or a fear of not belonging. Identifying emotional triggers allows us to explore the root causes of our feelings and break free from automatic emotional responses. The benefits of emotional awareness. Meurisse discusses several benefits of emotional awareness that contribute to overall well-being. One key benefit is improved emotional regulation. When we can identify our emotions early on, we can better regulate our responses and prevent negative emotions from spiraling out of control. For example, when we're aware of the first signs of frustration, we can pause, reflect, and choose to respond in a calm and constructive manner rather than reacting impulsively. Another benefit of emotional awareness is enhanced decision-making. Our emotions influence our decisions in ways that are often unconscious. However, by developing awareness of how we feel in various situations, we can make more informed, intentional choices. For example, if we feel anxiety before making a major decision, recognizing that emotion allows us to consider whether the anxiety is based on rational concerns or irrational fears. By doing so, we can make a decision that aligns with our true values and priorities rather than being swayed by unchecked emotions. Emotions as signals, learning from our feelings. In this section, Meurisse encourages readers to view emotions not as problems to be solved, but as signals or messages that provide valuable information. Emotions arise to communicate something about our environment or our internal state. For instance, anxiety might signal that we are facing a challenging situation, while sadness might indicate that we need to process grief or loss. By becoming aware of our emotions and what they are trying to tell us, we can make adjustments to our behaviors, thoughts, or environment to address the underlying issue. This concept is a shift in perspective, moving from seeing emotions as obstacles or disruptions to viewing them as valuable guides for personal growth. Instead of suppressing emotions or feeling guilty about them, we can learn to listen to our emotions, reflect on their meaning, and use them as a tool for self-awareness and improvement. Journaling for emotional awareness. Meurisse introduces practical strategies for increasing emotional awareness, and one of the most effective tools he suggests is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences helps you track emotional patterns over time and gain insight into your emotional triggers. By reflecting on your emotional responses in different situations, you can identify recurring themes, such as how stress impacts your behavior or how certain people make you feel. Journaling also helps you process emotions that might be difficult to express verbally. When you write about your feelings, you can untangle complex emotions and gain clarity on why you feel the way you do. This process not only improves emotional awareness but also helps you find solutions to emotional challenges. Mindfulness and self-reflection practices. In addition to journaling, Meurisse advocates for regular mindfulness and self-reflection practices as essential tools for emotional awareness. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment, which helps us observe our emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Self-reflection, on the other hand, allows us to analyze our emotional experiences and identify patterns or areas for growth. Mindfulness can be practiced through various techniques, such as meditation, deep breathing, or simply paying attention to our thoughts and feelings as we go about our day. Meurisse encourages readers to develop a consistent mindfulness practice to help build the habit of noticing emotions as they arise and to become more comfortable with discomfort. The link between emotional awareness and personal growth. Emotional awareness plays a pivotal role in personal growth. Meurisse argues that personal development is impossible without understanding and addressing our emotions. Our emotions often reflect our values, desires, and fears, and by becoming aware of these underlying emotions, we can make more informed decisions about how we want to grow. For instance, someone who feels frustration at work may realize through emotional awareness that they are not pursuing their true passions. Alternatively, someone who experiences guilt about self-care may uncover deeper beliefs about unworthiness or perfectionism. Through emotional awareness, we can identify areas in our lives that need change, and we can begin to take action to align our lives with our true values. The importance of non-judgmental awareness. Meurisse stresses that emotional awareness must be practiced with a non-judgmental mindset. Too often, we judge ourselves harshly for feeling certain emotions. For instance, we may feel guilty for experiencing anger, or ashamed for feeling sadness. These judgments only add layers of negativity to our emotional experiences and prevent us from fully understanding them. By adopting a stance of self-compassion and non-judgment, we create space for emotional growth. This approach allows us to embrace all emotions, positive or negative, as natural and valuable parts of the human experience. This shift in mindset enables us to develop a healthier, more balanced relationship with our emotions. Changing negative thought patterns. Introduction to negative thought patterns. Thibaut Meurisse introduces the concept of negative thought patterns as automatic, repetitive, and often unconscious ways of thinking that can limit our emotional and psychological well-being. These patterns of thought are often the result of past experiences, deeply held beliefs, or societal conditioning. Over time, negative thought patterns can become so ingrained that they feel like part of our identity, leading to persistent feelings of anxiety, sadness, or frustration. Meurisse emphasizes that thoughts are not facts, and the way we perceive and interpret the world around us is not always an accurate reflection of reality. In this section, he explains that recognizing and changing negative thought patterns is essential for emotional mastery. By learning to identify and challenge these patterns, we can shift our mindset, reduce emotional distress, and create a more positive and empowering way of thinking. The nature of negative thought patterns. The first step in changing negative thought patterns is understanding their nature. Meurisse discusses several common types of negative thought patterns that many people experience, including catastrophizing. This is the tendency to imagine the worst-case scenario in every situation. For example, if a person is running late for an appointment, they might automatically think they'll lose their job or miss out on an important opportunity. Overgeneralization. This involves taking one negative experience and applying it to all future situations. For example, if someone fails at a task, they might believe that they will always fail at similar tasks in the future. All-or-nothing thinking, also known as black and white thinking, this pattern involves seeing situations as either completely good or completely bad, with no middle ground. For instance, if a person doesn't perform perfectly in a task, they might see the entire outcome as a failure. Filtering. This pattern involves focusing only on the negative aspects of a situation and ignoring the positive ones. For instance, after receiving a compliment, someone might dwell on a single piece of constructive criticism they received, even if the overall feedback was positive. Meurisse points out that these types of thoughts are not only inaccurate but also self-limiting. They reinforce feelings of helplessness, inadequacy, and fear, which can prevent us from taking positive action in our lives. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward changing them. The role of cognitive distortions. Meurisse builds on the concept of cognitive distortions, which are irrational and exaggerated thought patterns that distort our perception of reality. These distortions contribute to negative emotional states and can significantly impact our mental health. By becoming aware of these distortions, we can challenge them and begin to replace them with more balanced and realistic thoughts. Meurisse identifies several key cognitive distortions, including personalization. This occurs when we take responsibility for events outside our control or blame ourselves for things that are not our fault. For example, if a friend is upset, we might immediately assume that it's our fault, even if their distress has nothing to do with us. Mind reading. This distortion happens when we assume we know what others are thinking without any evidence. For example, we might believe that a colleague is upset with us because they didn't smile when they saw us, even though we have no real evidence to support that assumption. Emotional reasoning. This involves believing that our emotional state reflects objective reality. For example, if we feel worthless, we might assume that we are indeed worthless, even though that feeling is not based on any concrete facts. Meurisse emphasizes that these distortions are learned behaviors and that, with practice, they can be unlearned. The key is to become aware of when these distortions are influencing our thoughts and then actively challenge them. The power of self-talk. Self-talk, the internal dialogue we have with ourselves, is a major contributor to our thought patterns. Meurisse explains that our self-talk often reflects our beliefs, past experiences, and the way we perceive ourselves and the world. Negative self-talk can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where our negative thoughts shape our reality, reinforcing our sense of inadequacy or fear. Meurisse emphasizes the importance of positive self-talk as a tool for overcoming negative thought patterns. He offers several techniques for transforming negative self-talk into more empowering, supportive statements, such as reframing. This technique involves changing the way we interpret a situation. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this," we might reframe it as, "I'm still learning, and I can improve with practice." Affirmations. Repeating positive affirmations can help shift our mindset. Meurisse suggests using statements like, "I am capable, I am worthy of love and respect," and "I can handle challenges with resilience," to challenge limiting beliefs and foster a positive self-image. Compassionate self-talk. Treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, just as we would treat a friend, can reduce the harshness of negative self-talk. Meurisse advocates for speaking to ourselves with compassion, especially when we make mistakes or face setbacks. Challenging negative beliefs. Another important aspect of changing negative thought patterns is identifying and challenging deeply held beliefs that may be contributing to negative thinking. These beliefs often stem from early life experiences, cultural influences, or societal expectations. For example, a person who believes that, "I'm not good enough," may find themselves engaging in negative self-talk, self-sabotage, or avoidance behaviors. Meurisse provides several strategies for identifying and questioning these beliefs. Identify core beliefs. These are the underlying beliefs that shape our thoughts and emotions. By identifying negative core beliefs, we can begin to unravel their influence on our behavior. For example, someone with a core belief of unworthiness may often feel anxious or avoid situations where they feel they might be judged. Question the evidence. Meurisse encourages readers to challenge their negative beliefs by asking questions like, "What evidence do I have that supports this belief?" and "What evidence do I have that contradicts this belief?" This process helps to create a more balanced and realistic perspective. Replace limiting beliefs. Once negative beliefs have been identified and questioned, the next step is to replace them with healthier, more empowering beliefs. For instance, replacing a belief like, "I'm not good enough," with, "I am worthy of success and happiness," can lead to a shift in self-esteem and emotional well-being. The role of mindfulness in changing negative thoughts. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for changing negative thought patterns. Meurisse explains that mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and observing our thoughts without judgment. This practice helps us become more aware of our automatic thoughts and the patterns they form, giving us the opportunity to break free from them. Mindfulness allows us to observe negative thoughts as they arise, without getting caught up in them. Instead of reacting impulsively to a negative thought, we can simply acknowledge it and let it pass. Over time, mindfulness helps us create a gap between stimulus and response, allowing us to choose how we want to respond to our thoughts rather than reacting automatically. Cognitive behavioral techniques for changing thought patterns. Meurisse introduces several cognitive behavioral techniques, CBT, that are designed to help individuals challenge and change negative thought patterns. These techniques include thought records. Keeping a thought record involves writing down negative thoughts, identifying the cognitive distortions, and challenging the validity of those thoughts. This process helps individuals become more aware of their thought patterns and practice reframing them. Behavioral activation. This involves taking action despite negative thoughts and emotions. For example, if someone feels depressed and has the thought, "I'm too tired to exercise," behavioral activation encourages them to go for a walk or engage in some form of physical activity, which can help improve mood and counter negative thoughts. Mastering negative emotions. Introduction to negative emotions. Thibaut Meurisse begins by explaining that negative emotions are a natural part of the human experience. They are not inherently bad or something to be avoided. Rather, negative emotions, such as anger, fear, sadness, or anxiety, are signals that our mind and body send to alert us about a particular situation. These emotions, when understood and managed correctly, can be valuable sources of information. However, the problem arises when negative emotions are ignored, suppressed, or mismanaged. They can spiral out of control, leading to stress, anxiety, depression, or destructive behaviors. Meurisse emphasizes that emotional mastery is about understanding, processing, and appropriately responding to negative emotions, not eliminating them. Mastering negative emotions is essential to living a fulfilling life and achieving emotional freedom. The importance of emotional awareness in mastering negative emotions. Before one can begin to master negative emotions, Meurisse stresses the importance of emotional awareness. We must first become aware of our emotions as they arise, acknowledging them without judgment or suppression. Often, people try to ignore their negative feelings or push them aside, but this only leads to them intensifying. Being mindful of our emotions means observing them without attaching labels like good or bad. Instead, we should recognize that emotions are temporary states that arise due to specific circumstances or thought patterns. Once we identify and acknowledge a negative emotion, we can begin to examine its cause and determine how to respond to it in a constructive way. For example, instead of ignoring the frustration we feel when stuck in traffic, we can pause and notice it. We can then assess what's triggering that frustration and decide on a more constructive response, such as practicing deep breathing or shifting our focus to something more positive. Understanding the roots of negative emotions. Meurisse argues that the root cause of most negative emotions lies in our thoughts, beliefs, and interpretations of situations. Our thoughts play a major role in how we feel emotionally. For example, if we interpret a neutral event, like a colleague not replying to an email, as a personal rejection, we may experience negative emotions such as anger or insecurity. On the other hand, if we interpret the same event as a simple oversight, we are less likely to feel upset. Many people are unaware of the power their thoughts have over their emotions. The beliefs and interpretations we hold about ourselves, others, and the world around us influence how we emotionally respond to any given situation. Meurisse highlights that by changing the way we think about certain situations, we can also change our emotional response to them. The role of cognitive distortions. Meurisse introduces the concept of cognitive distortions as patterns of thinking that consistently lead to negative emotional states. These distortions cause us to view situations in an unrealistic or exaggerated manner, which fuels negative emotions. Common cognitive distortions include catastrophizing, imagining the worst possible outcome in every situation. Overgeneralizing, taking a single event and applying it to all similar situations in the future. Mind reading, assuming we know what others are thinking or feeling without any evidence. Emotional reasoning, believing that our emotions reflect objective reality, e.g., I feel worthless, so I must be worthless. Meurisse emphasizes that these cognitive distortions are learned and reinforced over time. The first step in mastering negative emotions is recognizing when we are engaging in these distorted thought patterns. Once we become aware of them, we can challenge them and replace them with more rational, balanced thoughts. The power of reframing negative thoughts. One of the key techniques for mastering negative emotions is reframing. Reframing involves changing the way we interpret a situation. Meurisse explains that reframing negative thoughts allows us to shift our emotional response and see a situation from a more balanced or positive perspective. For example, if you're feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation, reframing might involve shifting your focus from thoughts like, I'm going to fail, to, I am prepared, and I have done this before. I can handle this. This shift in thinking leads to a shift in emotion. By reframing, we can change the meaning we attach to a situation, and, as a result, change the way we feel about it. Meurisse also suggests reframing negative emotions themselves. For example, rather than viewing anxiety as something to avoid, we can reframe it as a signal of excitement and energy, or as an opportunity for growth and improvement. Mindfulness and emotional regulation. Meurisse strongly advocates for the practice of mindfulness as a powerful tool in mastering negative emotions. Mindfulness is the ability to be fully present in the moment, observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of our emotional responses as they occur, which gives us the space to choose how we want to respond. Mindfulness allows us to step back from our emotions and view them objectively, rather than being consumed by them. For instance, if you feel anger rising in response to a situation, mindfulness enables you to observe that anger without becoming it. This separation allows you to respond in a more measured and rational way, rather than reacting impulsively. Meurisse suggests several mindfulness practices, such as meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply pausing for a moment to observe your thoughts and feelings throughout the day. These practices help reduce emotional reactivity and increase emotional regulation, making it easier to handle negative emotions when they arise. Emotional expression versus suppression. Meurisse discusses the importance of emotional expression as a way to process and release negative emotions. Suppressing emotions, such as holding on to anger or sadness, can lead to long-term negative consequences, including anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Expressing emotions in a healthy way, whether through talking, journaling, or creative outlets, allows us to process our feelings and let them go. Meurisse encourages readers to express their emotions in constructive ways, whether that's through conversation, physical activity, or creative expression. Suppressing emotions may seem easier in the moment, but over time, it causes more harm than good. Building emotional resilience. Mastering negative emotions requires building emotional resilience, which is the ability to bounce back from difficult or challenging emotional experiences. Meurisse emphasizes that resilience isn't about avoiding negative emotions, but about learning how to navigate them and come out stronger on the other side. Resilience is developed by cultivating a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities for growth. When faced with a setback or negative emotion, resilient people view the experience as a lesson that can help them develop greater emotional strength. Over time, practicing resilience builds emotional flexibility and the ability to manage negative emotions more effectively. The role of self-compassion in mastering emotions. Meurisse stresses the importance of self-compassion when it comes to emotional mastery. Often, when we experience negative emotions, we respond with self-criticism or harsh judgment. This only exacerbates the emotional pain. Instead, Meurisse encourages readers to practice self-compassion, treating themselves with the same kindness and understanding that they would offer to a friend. Self-compassion involves acknowledging that negative emotions are a natural part of life, and that everyone experiences them at times. Instead of berating ourselves for feeling anxious or angry, we can accept these emotions as temporary and valid. This practice helps reduce shame and self-blame, and fosters a more constructive approach to managing emotions. Practical techniques for mastering negative emotions. Meurisse outlines several practical techniques that can be used to manage negative emotions in everyday life. These include emotional labeling, simply labeling an emotion, saying to yourself, "I am feeling anxious," can help create a sense of distance from the emotion and prevent it from overwhelming you. Reframing negative thoughts, as mentioned earlier, challenging negative thoughts and reframing them in a more positive light is a powerful tool in managing negative emotions. Breathing exercises. Meurisse suggests using deep breathing techniques to calm the nervous system and regain emotional balance when negative emotions arise. Engaging in physical activity. Physical exercise is a great way to release pent-up emotions, reduce stress, and boost mood. It also improves overall emotional resilience. Visualization. Using visualization to imagine positive outcomes or to mentally rehearse stressful situations in a calm, confident manner can also help shift your emotional state. The role of self-control and discipline. Introduction, Understanding self-control and discipline. Thibaut Meurisse begins by defining self-control and discipline as essential components of emotional mastery and personal growth. While emotions can often lead us to act impulsively or give in to immediate desires, self-control and discipline enable us to pause, reflect, and make thoughtful decisions that align with our long-term goals and values. Meurisse explains that both self-control and discipline are necessary for achieving any meaningful success in life, whether it's in emotional regulation, personal relationships, or professional accomplishments. Self-control refers to the ability to manage one's impulses, emotions, and behaviors in the face of external demands, to achieve a greater goal. It is about resisting the temptation to act impulsively, especially when such actions are contrary to our goals. Discipline, on the other hand, is the ability to consistently apply effort and focus over time, maintaining a course of action even when the initial motivation wanes or obstacles arise. Meurisse stresses that these two qualities are learnable skills, not innate traits. They can be cultivated through practice, self-awareness, and commitment. Why self-control and discipline matter. The first step in mastering self-control and discipline is understanding their importance. Meurisse explains that the foundation of all personal growth, whether it be in terms of emotional mastery, career success, health, or relationships, rests on our ability to stay disciplined and make choices that are aligned with our core values and long-term objectives. Self-control and emotional regulation. Emotions are powerful and can influence our actions. For example, when we feel angry, frustrated, or sad, we might react impulsively by saying something hurtful, making hasty decisions, or avoiding difficult conversations. Self-control allows us to pause and consider the consequences of our actions, leading to more thoughtful, effective responses. Delaying gratification. A critical aspect of both self-control and discipline is the ability to delay gratification. Meurisse explains that this ability is central to achieving long-term success. Whether it's sticking to a workout routine, saving money for a future goal, or studying for an exam, delaying immediate pleasures, e.g., skipping a workout to watch TV, or spending money impulsively, allows us to make choices that bring greater rewards in the future. Meurisse highlights that self-control and discipline are foundational to achieving lasting happiness and fulfillment. Without these qualities, it's easy to get sidetracked by short-term temptations and lose sight of our bigger picture. Understanding the science of self-control. Meurisse dives into the psychology behind self-control and discipline, explaining that these abilities are rooted in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and rational thought. When we exercise self-control, we activate this part of the brain, which helps us override automatic impulses and emotional reactions. However, like any muscle, the prefrontal cortex can become fatigued with overuse, leading to a phenomenon known as ego depletion. This concept refers to the idea that self-control is a limited resource that can be drained by excessive use. For example, after a long day of making difficult decisions or resisting temptations, we may be more likely to give in to a craving or make impulsive decisions. Meurisse explains that understanding ego depletion is key to improving self-control. To combat it, we need to find ways to conserve our willpower and use it strategically. This can be achieved through creating automatic habits. The more automatic our habits are, the less willpower they require. For example, by creating a routine where we exercise at the same time each day, it becomes less of a decision that requires willpower and more of an ingrained habit. Building self-control gradually, like any skill, self-control improves with practice. Meurisse recommends starting small and gradually increasing the difficulty of tasks that require self-control. Over time, this will build your ability to maintain discipline in more challenging situations. The relationship between self-control, emotions, and goals. Meurisse emphasizes that self-control is deeply intertwined with our emotions and goals. The relationship between emotional regulation and goal achievement is central to the concept of discipline. Without emotional regulation, it's easy to be led by temporary emotions, whether it's frustration, stress, boredom, or excitement, and lose sight of the bigger picture. Self-control allows us to keep our emotions in check and focus on the long-term objectives that will bring us lasting fulfillment. Meurisse provides the example of a person who feels anxious about a big presentation at work. Without self-control, the anxiety might cause them to procrastinate, avoid preparation, or make last-minute decisions that could negatively impact their performance. By practicing self-control, they can acknowledge the anxiety without being ruled by it, and take deliberate actions to prepare, calm their nerves, and stay focused on the outcome they desire. The power of habits in building discipline. Meurisse stresses the importance of building positive habits in cultivating self-control and discipline. Our habits determine much of our daily behavior, and by changing our habits, we can dramatically change our lives. Meurisse suggests the following strategies for building discipline through habits. Start with small, achievable goals. Trying to change too much at once can lead to overwhelm and burnout. Meurisse recommends starting small and focusing on one area of discipline at a time. For instance, if you're trying to develop a habit of exercising, commit to just 10 minutes of exercise a day for the first week, and gradually increase the duration as the habit becomes ingrained. Make it enjoyable. Discipline doesn't have to be synonymous with punishment. By finding ways to make the process enjoyable, you increase the likelihood of sticking with it. For example, if you're trying to eat healthier, find healthy foods you enjoy, or experiment with new recipes that excite you. Track your progress. Tracking your progress can reinforce your commitment and provide motivation. Meurisse suggests using journals or apps to monitor your daily habits, helping you stay accountable and celebrate small wins along the way. Visual cues. Place visual reminders or cues in your environment to help reinforce your habits. This could mean laying out your workout clothes the night before, keeping healthy snacks in plain sight, or placing your to-do list in a visible spot to remind you of your goals. Self-compassion and discipline. Meurisse discusses the critical role of self-compassion in maintaining discipline. While discipline often requires perseverance and consistency, it's essential not to be overly harsh on ourselves when we slip up. Being kind to ourselves when we make mistakes or fall short helps us stay motivated to continue on the path of growth. Failure is part of the process. Meurisse emphasizes that discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency. If we fall short of our goals or miss a day of practice, self-compassion allows us to see it as part of the learning process rather than a failure. This mindset prevents us from feeling discouraged and gives us the strength to get back on track. Practical strategies for building self-control and discipline. Meurisse shares practical techniques for strengthening self-control and discipline in everyday life. Set clear, specific goals. Vague goals like, be more disciplined, are difficult to follow through on. Instead, set specific, measurable goals that you can track. For example, I will exercise for 30 minutes every morning, is a much clearer goal than, I want to get in shape. Use the 2-minute rule. The idea behind this rule is that if something takes less than 2 minutes to do it immediately. This prevents procrastination and ensures small tasks don't pile up, draining your energy and willpower. Prioritize tasks. Focus on the most important tasks first. When we start with the hardest or most important tasks, we gain a sense of accomplishment and momentum, making it easier to tackle the rest of the day's challenges. Cultivating positive emotions. Introduction: The importance of positive emotions. Thibaut Meurisse begins by acknowledging that while negative emotions often dominate our attention due to their intensity, cultivating positive emotions is equally important for emotional mastery. Positive emotions are not just the absence of negative ones, they are vibrant, active feelings that can transform our lives, contribute to our well-being, and enhance our personal growth. Positive emotions such as joy, gratitude, love, contentment, and pride are not just pleasant, they serve as signals of alignment with our values, goals, and overall life purpose. By actively cultivating these emotions, we can improve our mental, emotional, and even physical health. Meurisse explains that positive emotions contribute to a higher quality of life, better relationships, and increased resilience. In other words, cultivating positivity is not merely about feeling good, it's about creating a foundation for a flourishing life. Understanding positive emotions. Positive emotions have a wide range of benefits that extend beyond momentary pleasure. Meurisse discusses the concept of positive psychology, a field of study that focuses on what makes life worth living, including the cultivation of positive emotions. Research has shown that people who experience more positive emotions tend to have improved mental health. Positive emotions can reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. People who regularly experience positive emotions are better equipped to manage life's challenges. Enhanced physical health. Positive emotions have been linked to lower levels of inflammation, better immune function, and a longer lifespan. Better social connections. People who experience positive emotions are more likely to attract positive social relationships and build stronger support networks. Increased resilience. Positive emotions help individuals bounce back from adversity more quickly by broadening their mindset and increasing their resourcefulness. By focusing on the cultivation of positive emotions, we can create a powerful feedback loop that increases our emotional resilience and well-being. The power of gratitude. One of the core strategies for cultivating positive emotions is gratitude. Meurisse explains that gratitude is a simple yet profound practice that can dramatically shift our emotional state. Gratitude involves focusing on the things we appreciate, whether big or small, and acknowledging the positive aspects of our lives. Research has shown that practicing gratitude on a regular basis leads to increased happiness. People who regularly express gratitude report feeling more satisfied with their lives and are generally happier. Decreased depression. Gratitude can serve as an antidote to negative emotions like anger, resentment, and jealousy. By focusing on what we are thankful for, we reduce the emotional impact of negative experiences. Better physical health. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude tend to have fewer health complaints, better sleep, and even lower blood pressure. Meurisse suggests several ways to incorporate gratitude into daily life, such as keeping a gratitude journal. Writing down 3 things you are grateful for each day can significantly boost your positive emotions and shift your focus away from negativity. Practicing gratitude meditation. Taking a few moments to meditate on what you are grateful for can deepen your sense of appreciation and increase feelings of joy. Expressing gratitude to others. taking the time to thank people for their contributions, whether big or small, strengthens social connections and reinforces positive emotions. By making gratitude a regular part of our lives, we can train our minds to focus on the positive and foster a more joyful, abundant mindset. Building positive relationships. Meurisse emphasizes that positive relationships are one of the most powerful sources of positive emotions. When we connect with others, we experience a sense of belonging, love, and support, all of which contribute to emotional well-being. Positive relationships can also buffer against negative emotions like loneliness, stress, and anxiety. To build and nurture positive relationships, Meurisse suggests the following strategies. Cultivate empathy. Listening actively and understanding others' feelings strengthens bonds and deepens relationships. Be present. Being emotionally and physically present in your interactions helps build deeper connections and promotes mutual trust. Offer support. Acts of kindness, whether they are small gestures of care or larger acts of support, not only help others but also create a sense of fulfillment and happiness within ourselves. Investing in positive relationships creates a network of emotional support, which in turn amplifies our positive emotions. The more we give and receive love, kindness, and empathy, the more positive emotions we experience. The role of positive thinking. Meurisse highlights that positive thinking is a key element in cultivating positive emotions. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the opportunities, strengths, and solutions rather than the obstacles and limitations. Positive thinking has several benefits, including reduced stress. Positive thinkers tend to experience less stress because they approach challenges with a mindset that solutions are possible. Better problem solving. By focusing on the positives, people with positive thinking patterns are more likely to find creative solutions to problems. Increased motivation. Positive thinking fuels our desire to take action and work toward our goals. Meurisse emphasizes that reframing negative thoughts is one of the most effective ways to cultivate positive thinking. When faced with challenges, instead of thinking, "this is too hard," try reframing it as, "this is an opportunity to grow and learn." Over time, this shift in perspective leads to greater emotional well-being. Mindfulness and positive emotions. Meurisse integrates mindfulness as a powerful tool for cultivating positive emotions. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, we become more attuned to our emotional states and are able to savor positive emotions as they arise. Mindfulness helps in the following ways. Increasing emotional awareness. Mindfulness allows us to notice when positive emotions arise, enabling us to fully experience and savor them. Reducing emotional reactivity. By observing our emotions without reacting impulsively, we can choose more appropriate responses that align with our desired emotional state. Enhancing emotional regulation. Mindfulness enables us to better regulate our emotions, allowing us to stay balanced and centered even in challenging situations. Meurisse recommends integrating mindfulness practices into daily life, such as mindful breathing, taking a few deep breaths throughout the day to calm the mind and reconnect with the present moment. Body scans, performing a body scan to release tension and tune into how the body feels emotionally and physically. Mindful walking or eating, engaging fully in everyday activities without distractions, which fosters greater appreciation and emotional awareness. Through mindfulness, we can cultivate positive emotions by being more present with our experiences and less focused on external sources of stress or negativity. The role of self-acceptance. Another key element in cultivating positive emotions is self-acceptance. Meurisse explains that positive emotions stem from our ability to accept ourselves as we are, flaws and all. When we are kind and compassionate with ourselves, we create an emotional foundation that encourages joy, peace, and contentment. Self-acceptance involves embracing imperfections. Recognizing that nobody is perfect and accepting our own imperfections allows us to feel at peace with who we are. Forgiving ourselves. self-compassion involves forgiving ourselves for past mistakes and learning from them rather than dwelling on them. Celebrating our strengths, focusing on our strengths and achievements helps foster positive emotions like pride and gratitude. By practicing self-acceptance, we reduce the internal conflict that often generates negative emotions like shame, guilt, and anxiety. This, in turn, allows us to focus more on the positive aspects of our lives. Engaging in meaningful activities. Meurisse argues that engaging in meaningful activities is one of the most effective ways to cultivate positive emotions. When we pursue activities that align with our values, passions, and goals, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. Meaningful activities might include creative expression. Engaging in creative outlets such as writing, painting, or playing music can generate feelings of joy and satisfaction. Helping others. Acts of kindness and service not only benefit others but also boost our own positive emotions. Pursuing goals. Setting and working toward meaningful goals provides a sense of purpose and direction, which enhances overall well-being. Engaging in activities that are deeply meaningful to us brings about a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, both of which contribute to cultivating positive emotions. Taking action for change. Introduction: The importance of action. In the chapter, Taking Action for Change, Thibaut Meurisse emphasizes the fundamental role of action in transforming one's emotional life. Emotions, while powerful, do not define us. What truly matters is how we respond to those emotions and the decisions we make in reaction to them. Meurisse argues that to create lasting emotional and personal growth, we must move beyond mere awareness and reflection and take intentional action toward change. The chapter highlights that many people struggle with emotional challenges, but the most successful individuals are those who take action in the face of adversity. Understanding emotions is only the first step. Action is where transformation occurs. By taking deliberate steps toward emotional mastery, people can break free from unproductive emotional patterns and cultivate a life of fulfillment and resilience. Action as the bridge between awareness and change. Meurisse stresses that awareness without action is insufficient. Many individuals recognize their emotional struggles, whether it's anger, sadness, or anxiety, but they fail to make the necessary changes because they don't take action. Awareness allows us to identify patterns and triggers in our emotional landscape, but action allows us to shift those patterns and develop new, healthier ways of responding to the world around us. Breaking free from limiting beliefs. One of the key insights Meurisse presents is that our emotional responses are often rooted in deep-seated beliefs and thought patterns. To change these responses, we must take action to challenge and reframe these limiting beliefs. For example, if someone believes they are unworthy of success, they may feel anxiety or fear when pursuing their goals. Taking action, whether it's through positive affirmations, seeking support, or stepping out of their comfort zone, can help break this cycle. Proactive versus reactive thinking. Meurisse also highlights the difference between proactive and reactive thinking. Proactive individuals take control of their emotions and decide how they want to feel and act in any given situation. Reactive individuals, on the other hand, allow their emotions to dictate their behavior. Taking proactive action involves consciously choosing your emotional state and your response to external events. The power of small steps. One of the central themes of the chapter is the idea that lasting change comes from small, consistent actions rather than drastic, overwhelming changes. Meurisse discusses the importance of incremental progress and the power of compounding efforts over time. The snowball effect, starting with small actions, can create momentum. Just as a snowball starts small but grows as it rolls down a hill, small actions can lead to larger, more impactful changes in life. Meurisse encourages readers to take small, actionable steps every day. This might be something as simple as setting an intention each morning, practicing mindfulness, or taking a few minutes to reflect on progress each evening. Habit formation. Meurisse underscores that taking small actions consistently is essential for habit formation. The more we repeat a behavior, the more automatic it becomes. Over time, positive habits, such as practicing gratitude, engaging in positive self-talk, or setting daily goals, become ingrained and require less mental effort. These habits, in turn, strengthen emotional resilience and mastery. Overcoming procrastination and fear. Taking action is not always easy, especially when fear and procrastination get in the way. Meurisse dedicates a section of the chapter to overcoming procrastination and the fear of failure, two common obstacles that prevent people from taking action. Fear of failure. The fear of making mistakes or failing is a significant barrier to taking action. Meurisse explains that the key to overcoming this fear is shifting your mindset. Instead of viewing failure as something negative, see it as a learning opportunity. Every time you take action, whether you succeed or fail, you learn something valuable that moves you closer to your goals. Embracing discomfort. Taking action often requires stepping outside of your comfort zone. Meurisse suggests that we must embrace discomfort, as it is often a sign that we are pushing ourselves to grow. Rather than avoiding difficult situations, we should face them head-on and allow ourselves to feel the discomfort without letting it paralyze us. The power of starting. Often, the hardest part of taking action is simply getting started. Meurisse suggests a simple technique to overcome procrastination: commit to doing the task for just 5 minutes. Once you begin, you'll often find that the initial resistance fades, and you are able to continue working toward your goal. The role of accountability. Accountability is a powerful motivator when it comes to taking action. Meurisse explains that having someone to share your progress with, whether it's a friend, mentor, or coach, can significantly increase your likelihood of success. Accountability partners. Meurisse recommends finding an accountability partner to help you stay on track. This person should be someone who can provide honest feedback, celebrate your progress, and challenge you when needed. Regular check-ins and discussions about your goals can create a sense of responsibility, which makes it harder to procrastinate or give up on your goals. Self-accountability. In addition to external accountability, Meurisse emphasizes the importance of self-accountability. This means taking full responsibility for your actions and progress. He suggests setting clear goals, creating a plan of action, and then holding yourself accountable for completing the steps you've committed to. Meurisse also highlights the role of self-reflection in accountability. At the end of each day or week, take time to assess your actions, celebrate your successes, and identify areas for improvement. Emotional intelligence and taking action. Meurisse links emotional intelligence, EQ, with the ability to take meaningful action. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. High EQ enables us to take thoughtful, deliberate actions, even in emotionally charged situations. Emotional regulation. One key aspect of emotional intelligence is the ability to regulate emotions. In the context of taking action, emotional regulation allows us to take steps even when we are feeling negative emotions like fear, frustration, or anger. By recognizing and acknowledging these emotions without being ruled by them, we can make more rational, effective decisions. Empathy and relationship building. Emotional intelligence also plays a role in how we interact with others while taking action. Building positive relationships and networking can provide the support and resources needed to move forward with our goals. By understanding and empathizing with others, we can create more cooperative and productive environments in which both we and others thrive. The role of reflection and adaptation. Meurisse highlights the importance of reflecting on actions taken and adapting as needed. Taking action for change is not a linear process. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The key is to constantly evaluate your actions and make adjustments to improve your approach. Reflection and self-assessment. Meurisse encourages readers to regularly reflect on their progress by asking questions such as, "What went well today?" and "What can I improve?" By assessing your actions, you become more aware of what's working and what isn't. This process of reflection allows you to fine-tune your strategies and stay focused on your desired outcomes. Learning from mistakes and failures are inevitable, but they should be seen as opportunities to learn rather than reasons to quit. Meurisse suggests that the best way to respond to setbacks is to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Each mistake offers valuable feedback that can lead to better decisions in the future. Creating a plan for consistent action. The final part of the chapter focuses on the importance of having a clear plan for consistent action. Meurisse provides several tips for creating a plan that keeps you motivated and focused. Set clear, achievable goals. Meurisse stresses the importance of setting specific, measurable goals that are aligned with your core values and long-term vision. Without clear goals, it's easy to get lost or distracted. Break down larger goals into smaller, actionable steps to make them more manageable. Time management and prioritization. Effective time management is crucial for consistent action. Meurisse recommends using time-blocking techniques to dedicate focused periods of time to your goals. Prioritize your tasks by importance and urgency to ensure that you are taking consistent action toward what matters most. Celebrate small wins. Taking consistent action can sometimes feel slow, but celebrating small wins along the way can boost motivation and keep you on track. Meurisse encourages readers to acknowledge their progress, no matter how small, and use it as fuel to continue moving forward. Practical tools and techniques for mastering emotions. Introduction: The power of tools and techniques. In Master Your Emotions, Thibaut Meurisse stresses that mastering our emotions is not something that happens by chance or by passive contemplation. It requires intentional effort, and one of the best ways to build emotional mastery is through the application of practical tools and techniques. These tools, when used consistently, can help transform negative emotional patterns, enhance positive feelings, and support long-term emotional health. Meurisse presents a variety of actionable techniques that target both the cognitive and behavioral aspects of emotional management. The tools fall into several categories: mental reframing, behavioral changes, emotional regulation, and self-awareness practices. Each tool is aimed at equipping individuals with the resources they need to manage their emotions and build greater emotional resilience. 1. Cognitive restructuring, reframing negative thoughts. A central tool in emotional mastery is cognitive restructuring, or reframing. This technique involves changing the way we interpret events and situations, particularly those that elicit strong emotional responses. By changing our thoughts about a situation, we can change our emotional experience of it. The power of reframing. Reframing is not about denying or suppressing emotions, but about recognizing that we always have the power to choose how we interpret a situation. Meurisse highlights that negative thoughts often stem from distorted thinking patterns like catastrophizing, overgeneralizing, and personalization. By consciously challenging these distortions, we can shift our emotional responses from negative to more positive or neutral. Practical steps for reframing. The process of reframing begins with awareness. When negative emotions arise, take a step back and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Then, challenge this story by considering alternative interpretations that could be more balanced, objective, or constructive. By consistently practicing reframing, individuals can start to shift their automatic thought patterns. Example: instead of thinking, I failed at this task, so I am a failure, try reframing the thought to, I didn't succeed this time, but that doesn't define me. I can learn from this experience and improve next time. 2. Mindfulness, being present with your emotions. Another core tool for emotional mastery is mindfulness. Mindfulness involves paying full attention to the present moment without judgment, which helps us stay grounded and avoid getting overwhelmed by intense emotions. Mindfulness meditation. Meurisse suggests using mindfulness meditation as a tool for emotional regulation. By focusing on the breath or a specific sensation, individuals can create a mental space between the stimulus, an emotional trigger, and their response. This space allows us to observe our emotions without reacting impulsively, giving us more control over how we respond. Body scan technique. One popular mindfulness tool that Meurisse mentions is the body scan. This involves mentally scanning the body from head to toe, noticing any areas of tension or discomfort, and consciously releasing that tension. This practice helps individuals reconnect with their physical bodies and creates awareness of emotional states that may be manifesting physically, such as tightness in the chest or stomach. Mindful breathing. Another mindfulness technique is mindful breathing, where the individual focuses solely on the breath. Taking slow, deep breaths can help calm the nervous system and regulate emotions, particularly in moments of stress or anxiety. 3. Emotional regulation techniques. Emotional regulation refers to the ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences in healthy ways. Meurisse provides several techniques to help individuals regulate their emotions effectively. The 90-second rule. Meurisse introduces the concept of the 90-second rule, which comes from neuroscience. According to this rule, emotions typically last only about 90 seconds unless we continue to focus on them. By distracting ourselves or focusing on something else for those 90 seconds, we can often stop a negative emotion from escalating. For example, if you're feeling anger rise, pause and take deep breaths, engage in a physical activity, or switch to a more positive thought. This brief interruption can help the emotion dissipate. Labeling emotions. Meurisse recommends labeling emotions as they arise, such as saying to yourself, "I am feeling angry," or "I am feeling anxious." By naming the emotion, we are better able to separate our identity from the emotion itself, creating emotional distance. This prevents the emotion from overwhelming us and allows for a more rational response. Distraction. Sometimes, emotional regulation requires distraction, especially when dealing with overwhelming emotions. Meurisse suggests engaging in a different activity to break the emotional cycle, such as going for a walk, exercising, or doing a hobby. Shifting focus helps diffuse intense feelings, making it easier to return to a calmer emotional state. 4. Reframing negative self-talk. A common challenge in emotional mastery is negative self-talk, where individuals criticize themselves or doubt their abilities. Meurisse highlights the importance of identifying and transforming these self-critical thoughts into more constructive, supportive ones. The inner critic. Everyone has an inner critic, the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. Meurisse explains that this voice often originates from past experiences, societal expectations, or fear of failure. The key to transforming negative self-talk is to recognize that the critic is not the truth, but a set of beliefs based on past patterns. Transforming negative self-talk. To counter negative self-talk, Meurisse suggests challenging the inner critic with evidence to the contrary. Ask yourself, is this thought based on facts, or is it just an opinion? What evidence do I have that supports a more positive belief about myself? By replacing negative self-talk with more empowering thoughts, you begin to build self-confidence and reduce the emotional distress that comes with self-criticism. Affirmations and visualization. Meurisse also advocates using affirmations and visualization as tools to counter negative self-talk. By repeating positive affirmations and visualizing yourself achieving your goals, you can change the narrative in your mind and improve your emotional state. 5. Building emotional resilience. Emotional resilience refers to the ability to bounce back from difficult emotions and situations. Meurisse provides tools for developing resilience over time. Acceptance and commitment. One of the first steps in building resilience is accepting difficult emotions instead of resisting them. Resisting negative emotions only amplifies them. Instead, accept that emotions are a natural part of life and that they will pass. After accepting the emotion, commit to taking action that aligns with your values, even in the face of adversity. This can create a sense of empowerment and control, fostering resilience. Growth mindset. Meurisse encourages adopting a growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. When faced with setbacks or failures, individuals with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities for learning and development rather than as indications of their limitations. This mindset strengthens emotional resilience by promoting a positive and proactive outlook in the face of difficulties. Self-compassion. Developing self-compassion is another powerful tool for resilience. Treating yourself with kindness and understanding during tough times reduces the impact of negative emotions like shame and self-blame. Instead of criticizing yourself for experiencing difficulties, offer yourself the same compassion you would offer a close friend in similar circumstances. 6. Journaling for emotional clarity. Journaling is another technique Meurisse highlights as a tool for mastering emotions. Writing down emotions, thoughts, and experiences can provide clarity and insight into underlying emotional patterns. Free writing. Meurisse suggests starting with free writing, where you write continuously for a set period, e.g., 10 to 15 minutes, without worrying about grammar or structure. This exercise can help you express pent-up emotions, clear your mind, and gain perspective on situations that are causing emotional distress. Gratitude journaling. Another journaling technique is gratitude journaling, where you list things you are thankful for each day. This practice can help shift focus from negative to positive emotions and foster a more optimistic mindset. Emotion log. Keeping an emotion log is a more focused approach to journaling, where you document specific emotional experiences throughout the day. This can help identify emotional triggers, patterns, and connections between thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. 7. Creating positive habits and routines. Meurisse underscores the importance of creating positive habits and routines as a foundation for emotional mastery. Consistency is key to emotional health, and daily habits provide the structure needed to sustain positive emotional states. Morning routines. Starting the day with positive rituals, such as meditation, journaling, exercise, or setting goals, can prime you for emotional success. Meurisse suggests designing a morning routine that supports emotional clarity and sets a positive tone for the day. Evening routines. Equally important is an evening routine that includes reflection on the day's emotional experiences, practicing gratitude, and preparing mentally for the next day. Healthy lifestyle. Habits that support physical well-being, such as proper nutrition, regular exercise, and sufficient sleep, are also essential for emotional health. Meurisse emphasizes that our physical state greatly influences our emotional state, and developing healthy habits can boost resilience and emotional regulation. At Mindful Audio, our mission is to empower you to take control of your life through motivational and intellectual audiobooks. We aim to guide you on a transformative journey, unlocking your potential through practical insights, tools, and techniques. Our focus is on providing content that fuels your mind, helping you to overcome challenges and develop a positive, resilient mindset. In alignment with this mission, Master Your Emotions by Thibaut Meurisse serves as an invaluable resource for anyone looking to take charge of their emotional well-being. The book delves deep into how emotions shape our lives and provides actionable strategies for emotional mastery. Through practical tools like mindfulness, cognitive reframing, emotional regulation, and self-compassion, Meurisse empowers readers to transform negative emotional patterns into positive, productive responses. Just as we strive to provide enriching content on Mindful Audio, Master Your Emotions emphasizes the importance of practical techniques to build emotional intelligence and resilience. By combining the essence of emotional self-awareness, emotional regulation, and positive habit creation, both Mindful Audio and Master Your Emotions share the same goal: to help you become the best version of yourself. At Mindful Audio, we believe that your emotional health is key to unlocking your full potential. Through consistent practice of these emotional mastery tools, you can experience the growth, clarity, and transformation necessary to lead a more fulfilling and empowered life. As you listen to our content, whether it's about managing emotions, overcoming obstacles, or cultivating resilience, remember that emotional mastery is a journey. It requires intention, practice, and persistence. With the guidance from Mindful Audio and the insights from Master Your Emotions, you can begin to rewrite your emotional patterns, fostering a mindset that supports success, happiness, and well-being. Embrace this journey of growth, and take the first step today towards mastering your emotions, unlocking your potential, and living a wholehearted, empowered life.